Welcome to the fascinating world of philosophy. Today, we're diving deep into the life and teachings of the legendary figure who kick-started Western philosophy, Socrates. Though he lived over 2,400 years ago, Socrates remains a giant in philosophy, influencing thinkers across centuries. And yet, Socrates himself never wrote a single word. Strange, right? Let's unravel this mystery. Born around 470 BC in Athens, Socrates was an enigmatic figure. He didn't write anything down, didn't charge for teaching, and lived a modest life. Most of what we know about him comes from his students, particularly Plato and Xenophon, as well as the comic playwright Aristophanes, who portrayed him in a rather different light. But we'll get to that later. Socrates was often seen strolling through Athens, engaging people in deep conversations. His method? Ask questions and more questions, until the person realized they didn't know as much as they thought they did. This style of inquiry became known as the Socratic method. The Socratic method is probably Socrates' most famous contribution to philosophy. Instead of giving answers, he would ask probing questions like, what is justice? What is virtue? What does it mean to live a good life? Through a series of short questions and answers, Socrates would unravel a person's beliefs, often leaving them in a state of confusion, called aporia. His goal wasn't to make people feel dumb, well, maybe just a little, but to help them see that admitting ignorance is the first step toward true wisdom. Socrates was famous for saying, "I know that I know nothing." At first glance, this sounds paradoxical, but Socrates believed that real wisdom comes from recognizing your own ignorance. Unlike others in Athens who claimed to have all the answers, Socrates believed that questioning was more valuable than pretending to know everything. Not everyone appreciated Socrates' relentless questioning. In fact, some powerful Athenians found him downright annoying. He would question their values, their politics, even their definitions of basic concepts. In 399 BC, Socrates was accused of two serious charges: corrupting the youth in impiety, essentially disrespecting the gods. His trial, famously recounted in Plato's Apology, lasted just a day. In classic Socratic style, he defended himself by questioning his accusers, but the jury wasn't swayed. Socrates was sentenced to death. In his final moments, Socrates could have easily escaped from prison. His friends had arranged for it, but he refused. To Socrates, it wasn't just about staying alive. It was about sticking to his principles. He believed in living according to virtue and justice, even if that meant accepting death. In a poignant scene, depicted by Plato in the Phaedo, Socrates spent his last hours calmly discussing the immortality of the soul before drinking the fatal hemlock. Here's where things get tricky. We don't actually know what Socrates himself believed. Everything we know comes from Plato, Xenophon, and others, but their accounts differ widely. Plato presents Socrates as a profound philosopher, while Xenophon's Socrates seems more like a practical, everyday guy. And then there's Aristophanes, who mocks Socrates as a ridiculous figure in his play The Clouds, portraying him as an out-of-touch buffoon with his head in the clouds, quite literally. These conflicting portrayals create what scholars call the Socratic problem. How do we distinguish the real Socrates from the literary one? Despite the contradictions, Socrates' influence is undeniable. His student Plato took Socratic thinking to new heights, founding the Academy and writing dialogues that form the bedrock of Western philosophy. Aristotle, Plato's student, developed his own groundbreaking ideas. Even centuries later, Socrates inspired philosophers like Soren Kierkegaard, Friedrich Nietzsche, and countless others. His method of relentless questioning, of seeking truth through doubt, remains at the heart of philosophical inquiry today. Socrates hasn't just stayed within the confines of academia. From Renaissance art to modern film and literature, he has been a symbol of intellectual curiosity and moral courage. Whether you see him as a wise sage or an annoying gadfly, there's no denying that Socrates made an unforgettable mark on history. So, who was Socrates? A humble teacher, a questioner of everything, and a martyr for truth. His life reminds us that philosophy isn't just about having the right answers. It's about asking the right questions. And maybe, just maybe, the key to wisdom is realizing that we know nothing at all. Thanks for joining us on this journey through the life and teachings of Socrates. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of philosophy. Leave a comment below with your favorite Socratic quote, and we'll see you in the next video.